Oklahoma Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of sport. So y'all check this out. Now, let's talk a little bit of NFL. Let's talk Lamar Jackson, which we talk about from time to time. Lamar Jackson, for me, is a polarizing individual. It's a product of New Russia. We talk boxing a lot here, and it's one of those guys that's obviously awesome, but we spend most of our time tearing him down, finding reasons why he's not so awesome, and the things that he hasn't done yet or that he can't do. Now, I know people be like, oh man, it's not like that and whatever. Well, memory lane, guy obviously awesome, wins the Heisman Trophy, gets taken in the draft at the end of the damn first round. Somebody obviously talented, right? Somebody told when he comes in the league, hey, guy, you're not good enough for a quarterback. Why don't you play wide receiver? You're too fast. Play wide receiver, right? A guy who is playing 7 years now is already the leading rusher in rushing quarterback in NFL history already now, right? He's that already. But told he couldn't pass. Nah, he's not that good. He couldn't pass. Now, he's probably one of the most effective passers we have. I told you in the last video, he's leading passer rating and QBR. So much so that those stats won't matter in a while. I know you guys think this outlandish, but I've seen things like this. I've been around a while. QBR will stop mattering. Passer rating will stop mattering. It did last year already when we start talking about who's going to get the MVP. Dumb stuff started mattering. Head-to-head competition didn't matter, did it? Because Josh Allen lost to Lamar Jackson head-to-head. That didn't matter. How many touchdowns you throw? It was like 40 to 20-something. That didn't matter, right? Rushing yards. Lamar had 900. Your boy had about 400. Didn't matter all of a sudden, right? Passer rating. Lamar was way ahead of him, QBR and all that. None of that mattered. You start getting stuff like, because it was closer, because Lamar only had 4 interceptions, none of them being his fault. So you started saying, okay, well, the total turnovers, because Lamar had a few fumbles, and it started becoming equal in the total turnovers because Josh Allen had more interceptions. But the total turnovers, they were close to even. So we started mentioning that. Then this is when you start seeing what I'm talking about. This is a good one, right? Jalen Hurts, 2.5, 3 years ago, started this tush push thing. And then they start saying we should ban this tush push. Hey, we should ban that. It's not a football play. Josh Allen has most of his rushing TDs were tush pushes. But in that argument with Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, they started counting, right, how many rushing touchdowns you had, right? Because there's where Josh Allen had more than Lamar. Other than that, there was no reason. Because Josh Allen's team had a better record, but his division is ridiculous. Lamar took his team to the playoffs too in our tougher division. So there was no reason. And I'm going to do my research and get back at you. I guarantee you in the history of football, or probably ever, that no one has had as good stats as Lamar Jackson had last year and didn't get MVP, even though his team went to the playoffs. I don't think that has happened. We're talking about 42 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, none of them being your fault. You're in the top passer rating in the history, the top 4 passer rating in the history of the game. All of that didn't help you get MVP. None of it. Right? The guy who got MVP was lesser. Had a good season, but it was just in the historical season, you don't give a good season the MVP over a historical season. You just don't, unless you're trying to. Because at the end of the day, what would have happened? Lamar would have already had 3. And that was what the point was. We can't give him that third one. Let's give it to anybody who's close. And Josh Allen was close, but it wasn't even that close, to be honest. If you were to really be honest with yourself, you should have, for the good of the game, given it to someone who was capable of throwing 42 touchdowns with only 4 interceptions and rushed for 900 yards, which is probably the most of any quarterback that is not named Lamar Jackson or Michael Vick. We can't forget that his rushing yards are more than we've ever seen, right? So that's what we're doing. So right now, because Lamar Jackson is showing that how important he is, because his team was 1-5 when he went out. They win 1 with Huntley. Then he comes back, and now they're 4-5 right now, right? Obviously, how much his impact is. Now I've seen shows talking about, well, if Lamar Jackson doesn't win the Super Bowl this year, he probably never will. First of all, so what? Let me just make that clear. If Lamar Jackson doesn't win the Super Bowl, so what? The only thing the Super Bowl is if Lamar Jackson wins the Super Bowl, he'll become in the GOAT conversation. That's all that is. But a great quarterback, one of the best we've ever seen, he doesn't even need a Super Bowl for that. You got your eyes for that, right? You got the fact that you've been watching football for years for that, to tell you this is one of the best you've ever seen. We don't need a Super Bowl for that. There's many variables that comes with the Super Bowl. You know, a whole lot of stuff got to happen for you to win a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to tell y'all is, who cares? But that's the typical narrative you want to have, because it's like, damn, man, the guy come back and he's not even playing super exceptional. It's just, the point is, well, I'm just going to make sure I keep these passes on and make sure we do what we do, and I'm not going to even run on them. You know, the threat of me running opens things up, right? When I pass, my receivers are not better than anyone else's. My bottom line is, I can give them more time with my athleticism to go left and right until they get open. And then when they do, I get the pass there because I'm a good passer. But other than that, I ain't doing nothing that nobody else ain't doing. You know what I mean? I just can keep my passes. I give them more time, because they're gonna have more than 4 seconds with me if I start scrambling. And people are really, when I start scrambling and I start going forward, them damn DBs feel like, we better do something, right? Because people want anything to happen. They want Derrick Henry to rush the ball instead of me. They want my receivers to be open instead of me start running. Because people start getting embarrassed, and I start getting all these yards because I run a 4.340. And I got moves. You might get juked on national TV. Bottom line is this, guys. He might win a Super Bowl. But if he doesn't, I don't give a damn. It would be nice. I'm there for every game, right? I'm going to watch every game because something good's going to happen. You know, something awesome is going to happen. It's a lot of football players I ain't trying to miss, you know, because they're awesome. Lamar Jackson is one of them. He's one of the best you've ever seen. I've been watching for decades. I'm Joe Montana is my personal GOAT so far, right? And I'm seeing Patrick Mahomes. I don't like to miss his games either because it's something special. And your boy Lamar Jackson is right there with all of them in terms of, you know, exciting play, historical play. If he wins the Super Bowl, it would be great. But if he doesn't, so what? That probably only would mean, we can't call him the GOAT. But we can definitely call him one of the best we've ever seen, whether he wins the Super Bowl or not. So don't let narratives of these people who are trying to tear him down get at you. Believe your eyes. You know what I'm saying? And your eyes will tell you the damn truth. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.